Hello Mouses, and welcome to another episode of the Knob Mouse Show. Today we're talking about the internet filters, so congratulations on being able to see this, because it means either you've been smart enough to not opt into a filter system that doesn't actually work, or if you did opt in, congratulations on being able to get around it when you've realised that it doesn't work. Now, before we start, I have written in the past about how I think the basic idea of protecting children online is actually a very good thing. It's actually quite admirable. And I stand by the assertion that children shouldn't be subjected, either accidentally or on purpose, to adult content. But, that said, I don't think walling off vast swathes of the internet on the vague principle of, oh, think of the children, is a very good idea. It's never a good idea to just ignore things and hope that they go away, which is basically what these filters are doing. The better solution is responsible parenting. And yes, I realise that you can't watch them 24 hours a day. I also realise that I'm a producer of web content, and as a producer of web content, I am not your nanny. Now, I've met Claire Perry MP before, and I met her before the filters came in, and while we were talking, I asked her a question. I asked her if there were safeguards to prevent the new internet filters from blocking legitimate content. She assured me that there were, and I was prepared to give her the benefit of the doubt at the time. Unfortunately, it seems that either she lied directly to my face, or someone was lying to her, someone who briefs her, and she didn't understand enough about the internet and the technology enough to actually be able to see past the lies, so she was just repeating what she was told, parrot fashion. And given what she said yesterday at an e-forum, I'm now thinking that actually she really doesn't understand this technology. Why is that? Well, because she thinks parents can just confiscate phones and turn off routers on a night and that will solve the problem. Yeah, that's not going to work. Why not? Because I guarantee that a kid who finds their router has been turned off on a night will only find out once. Because the next day, what's going to happen is they're going to go to school and say, how do I get on my neighbour's Wi-Fi? And someone's going to know. Or they're going to look it up when they've got Wi-Fi access. Or the router's turned back on at home. Well, they're supposed to be doing their homework, tap, tap, tap. Oh, that's how you do it. And then the next night, bing, they're on next door's internet. And now you don't know what your kids are doing online. And you don't even know that your kids are online. It makes the problem worse. Okay, think that won't happen? Well, maybe it won't with your kid. Perhaps you haven't even turned off the router. Perhaps you've decided that you're just going to rely on the internet filters. Because it blocks everything, doesn't it? Yeah, no it doesn't. A lot of porn is still accessible. And there are ways to get around it. In fact, I did a quick search, just BT filter bypass, and I got a lot of information on how to bypass it, and a few very good YouTube videos that explain it. Bing, there's one. Not only that, but what if you've got a techno-Luddite style of kid who doesn't really want to learn how to bypass filters? What can they do? Well, they can still get porn, as this quote shows. I don't care. I'll just ask one of the local slags to send me pictures instead. That is a direct quote from a teenager in the northwest of England. There you go. That's what'll happen. When you haven't got access to the internet, they will go and find stuff elsewhere, because kids always will. They always have, they always will. Your generation did, my generation did. The internet just makes it easier. But the thing is, the internet's there. It's not going to go away. And you could sit with your kids and explain how the internet works and why they need to remember to be safe. And you could sit with them while they're on it as well, if you think that's a good idea. I mean, teenagers might not be a good person to sit next to while they're looking at everything, because you don't want to know the kind of gossip they get up to for a start. But it's a possibility. But hiding away and just thinking it'll go away, that's not going to work at all. It's going to make the problem worse. And the fact is, using an internet filter to block out content that you don't like is like using a steamroller to iron your shirt. Yeah, sure, it'll get the job done, but it makes a lot of collateral damage in the process. It crushes other things that it shouldn't have. We all know the porn filters overblock. Charities, museums, LGBT advice sites, support groups and advice lines for domestic abuse and rape centres and things like that, they're all being blocked. But Claire Perry doesn't believe us. She was quoted yesterday at an e-forum saying that all the evidence about overblocking was anecdotal. Now, I've looked into this, and what she seems to be talking about is the evidence presented to committees before the blocks came into place, which is fair enough. Anecdotal evidence was pretty much all we had available then. There were a few net nanny things, but they weren't the same scale, they weren't the same thing that we thought we were talking about. So there was only anecdotal evidence. But the problem with that is, she should have had a look and went, oh, everything seems to be pointing toward this. We should look into this anecdotal evidence and see if we can make it more legitimate and see what it actually is that's going to happen. Because all of these problems were predicted. All of these problems could have been solved, and they weren't. So now, what we're doing is, we're going to solve the anecdotal evidence problem. We're going to collect all the information on the sites that are being blocked and all the problems that's causing. We're going to present all this data to her as actual, legitimate evidence. Will that change anything? I don't know. But the fact is that over-blocking is a massive problem. It prevents the people that are vulnerable from getting access to information and resources that they need. Rape crisis centres are blocked. Domestic abuse websites are blocked. LGBT sites are blocked. So kids who are struggling to come to terms with their sexuality or their gender identity, kids that are actually vulnerable and need advice and support in a safe and secure environment, are not able to get that because people are wanting to protect them from adult content. But in protecting them from adult content, they're protecting them from children's content as well. And that is not acceptable. You can't make vulnerable children more vulnerable in the name of protecting children. That is just ridiculous. And that's really what it comes down to. You can't harm children in the name of protecting children. It goes against everything that we all have fought for. But anyway, that's really all I've got time for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you did like this. If you did, remember to click the like button. Share it with your friends so that they know what's been going on as well. And do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching The Knob Mouse Show, and I'll see you tomorrow.